Howdy, I'm Tratus the Gray, and we're playing Magic again, except this is a video that I'm going to be calling Magic 101. If you're a beginner player, or if you're a veteran noob like me, who hasn't played Magic in 90 years... That didn't come out right. I meant to say, yeah, I'm like, not 90 years, I mean, whatever, I meant... since the 90s. Okay, so I might be an old enough veteran noob, but since the 90s, if you haven't played Magic since the 90s, right, and you just discovered Magic Arena online, and you're sucked right back in, you're loving the art of the cards, you love playing Magic again, well, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. In fact, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun. And we're going to be talking about 3 complicated cards that made my head spin a little bit, especially when it's combined with Embercleave. We're first going to talk about Embercleave, then we'll talk about Anax, and then we'll talk about Questing Beast. We're going to talk about all of the traits that are associated with these cards and explain them thoroughly. So, if you like this video, consider placing a like on it. Let me know in the comments as well. Let me know in the comments any other cards you would like me to also deep dive into and explain here as well. Without further ado, let's move on to Embercleave. Embercleave, a very powerful mythic rare card. It's going to be a card you see in many, especially mythic mono red decks. You might even seen it played in regular standard play. I love this card, but how do I know it's a mythic rare? I've had someone ask me that before. You see this orange symbol here? That's how you know it's a mythic rare. What's the casting cost? Well, it's a total of 6 because it's 2 red mountain and 4 colorless. 4 plus 2 is 6. Very, very basic math. I know. 6, if you're playing a red mono red deck, it's going to take 6 red mountains to cast this. Of course, it gets cheaper. We'll talk about that in a second. Legendary artifact equipment. Legendary, break it down, is just... It just means that you can only have 1 permanent of Embercleave on your side of the board going on at one time. If you place another one down, you have to pick one of those that actually stick, because you can't have more than 1 because it's legendary. Equipment. At first, this kind of jostled my brain because I saw that it takes 6 to cast it, and then it says equip 3. I'm like, what? Do I have to add 3 more to that? Actually, no. When this enters the battlefield, attach it to a target creature you control. If that creature dies, your Embercleave is going to go to a nice place on the board, and it's going to sit there until you equip it again for a 3 colorless casting cost. Whatever colors you got, just takes 3 to put it back onto another creature. Or you can recast your Embercleave if you have many creatures on the board, and maybe get it cheaper than 3. Just pick that one to be the new permanent. Let's finish talking about the card itself, all of its text, and then we'll do a deep dive into double strike and trample afterward. So flash. Flash means you can cast it at any time. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each attacking creature you control. So if you have 3 attacking creatures, you have just declared your attack phase, you have 3 attacking, you're going to subtract 3 from this 4. That makes it a 1 and then 2 red mana. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. When it enters a battlefield, even better, you can attach it to the target creature you control. There is some equipment that do not have this text, so it gets slapped onto the board and then you have to pay the equip cost. The equipped creature gets a +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. To explain double strike, we first have to remember that in a combat phase, all damage, I say this basic and as simple as possible, all combat damage happens simultaneously, with exception of double strike and first strike damage. Because first strike damage is applied to any first, and anything that has first strike will go first. Okay. With the reason I say first strike and double strike is because double strike, doing that deep dive on double strike has a first strike mechanic and a normal strike mechanic. So let's say you have a 2 power creature with double strike. It's going to end up, its total attacking power is twice that. So it's 4, right? Because it's going to do 2 as a first strike and 2 as a normal strike. So a total of 4. Okay, so double strike is just basically double the attacking power. Trample. Our deep dive on trample is we're just, we'll just state the normal text. After lethal damage has been applied, anything that's excess damage will roll over to target planeswalker or player. So let's say you have a 5/5 trample creature that's being blocked by a 1/1 creature. Your attack power of 5 is going to just apply 1 damage, because you have to still apply lethal to the whatever permanent is blocking you. Okay. Well, it only takes 1 to kill it, right? So you're going to have 4 that rolls over to the player or planeswalker. 1 plus 4 is 5. Let's say you have a 3/3 blocking your 5/5. Okay, you still, remember, have to apply lethal before it rolls over. So it's going to soak up 3 of that 5 damage, leaving 2 to roll over. What if you have Indestructible? Indestructible keeps your card from dying. Okay? If it's a 1/1 with Indestructible, I'm just throwing this out there. Some players get confused and think, well, it's going to soak up all that damage. Incorrect. It's going to take only 1 damage. Okay? Because it only takes 1 to kill it. 1 for lethal. Lethal is still being applied to it. It's going to die, except it's got that trait that says Indestructible, which keeps it from dying. So the lethal damage still has to be applied to the card. And because it's trample, the excess is going to roll over to the player or planeswalker. Okay? So don't get that confused. The reason I'm hashing this out right now with Embercleave is how it combines with Questing Beast later. Because that is where it gets really a little complicated for someone that might not know the tricks of Questing Beast. And we'll get there in just a moment. But first, let's talk about good old Anax. Anax. An also very powerful card for any mono red deck. And it's an uncommon. Uncommon because we know it has a silver or a little silver image over here that I'm circling. And I didn't state it earlier, but a black symbol or white symbol is common, silver is uncommon, gold rare, and orange is mythic rare. Okay. It's got a casting cost of 3. That's the 2 red mountains plus the 1 colorless. He's also legendary, and he's considered an enchantment creature, demigod. Legendary, again, means you can only have 1 Anax on the board on your side. So if you place another one down, you do have to pick which one is going to stay on the board. We're just going to read all of this here real quick before we start talking about devotion and how he combines with Embercleave. Anax's power is equal to your devotion to red. Whenever Anax or another non-token creature you control dies, create a 1/1 red satire creature token with This creature can't block. If the creature had power 4 or greater, create 2 of those tokens instead. Well, first off, if you have goblin tokens, again, it's a token. Those are not going to create 1/1 red satires. It has to be a non-token creature. And if it has a power 4 or greater, you're going to get 2 satire tokens out of that whenever it dies. Devotion. It's a very simple mechanic. We're just going to look at Anax himself. Let's say there's nothing on the board, okay? You play Anax. It's going to count these 2 red here. It's not counting the numbers. It's only counting the red symbols of the card. So it's going to get 2, so his devotion is going to be 2, and he's going to end up being a 2/3. Unless you get any other enchantments that increase him, he's going to be a natural 2/3, okay? Just him by himself. Now, devotion doesn't count land. But it will count enchantments or anything on your side of the board that has a red mana symbol. So let's say on turn 1 you play a goblin, a 1 red mana goblin, just 1 red mana. Turn 2 you play another 1 red mana. So you got 2 red mana on the board. Anax comes on turn 3, okay? So we're going to add his 2 red mana plus the other 2 from 1 each of the goblin. So that's 4, right? So he's going to be a 4/3. Turn 4. You attack with the 2 red goblins and Anax. That is 3 attacking creatures. Now remember, Embercleave will subtract based on how many attacking creatures are attacking. So you got 3. So now it's going to subtract from that total of 4 colorless, making it 1 plus 2 red mana, which you can easily flash in your Embercleave on Anax. Why do you want to do it on Anax? Well, if you put it on Anax on turn 4, remember Embercleave has 2 red mana in it. So now we're going to add 2 to his power of 4 here, making him a natural 6/3. But wait! Embercleave adds a 1/1. So now he's going to be a 7/4. Okay? With double strike and trample. You're on round 4, and you're doing 16 points of damage. Wait. You forgot those 2 goblins. That's 2 points of damage, right? We're just calling them a 1/1 goblin now. So they're doing 1 each. That's 2. Plus the 7/4 Anax. Double strike means the attack power gets doubled. That becomes a 14. So the 14 plus 2 is 16. You got 16 points of damage coming out on turn 4. That is crazy sauce, okay? Crazy. Very crazy. That is some good stuff. So devotion, Embercleave, Anax. Now, don't forget he's got trample. So on turn 4, if your opponent only has a 1/1 creature blocking good old 14 power attacking coming through on Anax, they're still going to take 13 to the face. That's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. I've sometimes killed opponents just going to round 4 because they're sitting there with just enough damage taken that here we are, we're going right into this. So it's crazy. It's crazy fun, crazy good. This is why Embercleave and Anax are powerful. But let's talk about Questing Beast. And with Embercleave attached to it, there is so much crazy fun going on with this combination because of all the traits and mechanics involved with it. Questing Beast. A mythic rare card because of the orange symbol again. It takes 2 green and 2 colorless mana. It's legendary, meaning you can only have one of these going on at one time. You do have to pick which one is going to stay active. we'll just talk about its card verbiage, and then we'll dive into Vigilance, Death Touch, Haste, and then the combination of Embercleave with it. Vigilance, Death Touch, and Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. And whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker and that player controls. So if you're going face to the opponent, the planeswalker on the board is going to take damage as well. Vigilance. Thinking about it from a card standpoint, looking down onto the table, right? When you attack, you flip the card. You tap it. It cannot block on the opponent's turn because it is tapped. Can't use it. Vigilance allows you to not have to tap the card. It can attack and still block on the opponent's turn. Death Touch, anything it touches dies. It doesn't matter if it was a 2020 creature blocking your Questing Beast. The fact that it did 4 damage and it has Death Touch is considered lethal. Haste, plain and simple, is there's no summoning sickness. So we can use Questing Beast right away as soon as we hit the board with it. Death Touch and Indestructible. Death Touch still applies lethal, but Indestructible keeps the card alive. Let's talk about how Embercleave affects this card, because that is where it gets crazy fun, right? Embercleave is going to add a +1/+1, so we're just going to stick with a 5/5 Questing Beast in all of our discussion from here on out. 5/5 Questing Beast is being blocked by a 1/1 creature. We apply our 1 damage. 4 of our initial first strike is going to roll over. Don't forget the double strike, okay? So we got 4 that's going to roll over because of the trample, and then plus 5 more for our normal strike. That's going to be 9, because double strike is doubling the power of 5, so that's 10. So 9 is going to roll over. Okay. What if the 2020 creature that we used earlier was blocking our Questing Beast? With Death Touch, because you have to apply lethal damage to the permanent, to the creature, you only need to apply 1 point of damage. That's right. 1 point of damage is considered lethal because of the Death Touch, and because of trample, everything rolls over. Let's say it's an Indestructible 2020. Again, you just have to apply lethal damage first. 1 point of damage. It is not going to soak up that entire damage, because the way Indestructible works, it just keeps the card from dying, okay? But you still have to apply lethal damage to it before that can come in and be like, nope, it doesn't die. Lethal damage is still 1 point of damage because of Death Touch. So you're going to apply the 1 point to that 2020 Indestructible, and 9 is going to roll over to face. So how do you stop 10 points of damage coming to your face from a Questing Beast? The most absurd way is to have 10 creatures blocking it to absorb all the damage. And of course, this is talking about no first strike mechanics. We'll talk about that in just 1 minute. With no first strike mechanics on your blocking creatures, you have to have 10 absorb 1 point of damage because of the Death Touch, and because of the trample, it's going to roll over the rest of the damage. So you have to have 10 to soak up those 10 points of damage, because don't forget, your 5/5 Questing Beast has an Embercleave on it, and because of the double strike, there is a first strike phase and a normal strike phase. That being said, In the first strike phase, because that happens first, anything with first strike all happens boom, 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 simultaneously, right? And then your normal phase, everything that's remaining happens simultaneously as well. In your first strike phase, if there is a 5/5 creature blocking your Questing Beast, and that 5/5 creature has first strike, your Questing Beast can still put 1 point of damage, just one, on that creature, kill it, and have 4 roll over onto face. Now, during that first strike phase, your Questing Beast is going to die, so will the other creature. And because it dies in the first strike phase, it doesn't remain on the board, right? So there is no second phase for your Questing Beast. That's one way of doing it. But if you want to stop all the damage, you have to have 5 first strike creatures. That's assuming you're stopping everything in the first phase. Because anything that is remaining out of that 5 points in the first phase, like I just said, put 1 point of damage on just one creature that has first strike, and then in that first strike phase, the rest of it's going to carry over. Okay? The easiest way and the less confusing way is just to remove it from the board with an instant. You either nuke it or you just kill it, you know, with a murder or something, right? Something that just removes it off the board. That's the easiest way. And with all of these nifty little mechanics, this is why Magic is fun. It's complicated fun. Still fun. And why I think Questing Beast is overpowered, in my opinion. So, if there's there was one other way I was thinking of, and that was Mirror Shield. But hey, that is a card we can talk about in the future, in a future video for Magic 101. I hope I've helped out here, because when I was getting back into it, I was like, what the heck just happened with this Questing Beast? Like, how did it... It's because of the Death Touch. The Death Touch only needs 1 to be applied to each thing, and then the trample is just rolling right all over. So, I hope this has helped. Do consider liking the video if I helped out in any way. Leave a comment. Let me know if there's anything you also want to see in the future, any other cards that you want to be have explained. I'm happy to do that. Happy to do this little series. You can also catch me live on twitch.tv, Greatest the Grade, just like it's spelled here. I even have links in my profile and in the description. I stream Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if you do hop on over there from here, let me know in the chat next time I see you. Thank you, everyone, and I'll catch you on the next.